Good evening, I'm Nate Butterball with their sports update. NFL preseason action tonight sees the Cleveland Browns at home taking on New England. Dylan Gabriel is getting the start at quarterback for the Browns. Kickoff is at 8. Catch all the action immediately following the Buckeye show. The Browns earlier today cut veteran wide receiver Cedric Tillman. Other games tonight see Buffalo playing host to Pittsburgh, the 49ers visiting the Raiders, and the Battle of Los Angeles between the Rams and Chargers. The Bengals will play their final preseason game tomorrow in Philadelphia. Off nights for both the Cincinnati Reds and Cleveland Guardians. The Reds play a matinee tomorrow at the Cubs, and Cleveland opens a home series with Kansas City. PGA Championship in Atlanta sees Minwoo Lee take the round 1 lead at 8 under par. Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa, and Chris Goddard up all set 2 strokes back. This update brought to us by Metal Supermarkets, your convenience store for metal. Visit Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com or 2180 Wilson Road for all your metal needs. Bringing sports news and weapons to the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Bring it up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
No, look, that team's stealing away. He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side, going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh, Brad Rucker for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Off and rolling here on a Thursday. I am Brandon Beam hanging out with our guy, A-Ward Sports. Nate Dogg behind the glass this evening. Austin, happy Thursday to you, my friend, from the San Diego of the Midwest, Columbus, Ohio. What's going on, buddy? Good to talk to you.
Great to be back in. Beautiful day out. Just enjoying the sunshine. Told Alex, like, it was pretty nice out here. Just expecting that text to come back in. Yeah. Hit up that patio later on Thursday night.
Ooh.
She hasn't done it yet.
A tradition unlike any other?
She said she's trying to, be good until the weekend. I said, okay, I'm just letting you know that's pretty nice out.
That counterbalance, formerly known as SIP.
It's, there's trivia out there. Mm-hmm. We're pretty good at that music trivia. Taking it down more than a couple times. She said, I'm just letting you know what the situation out here is in the San Diego of the Midwest.
It's beauteous out tonight.
And it's entirely up to you, Allie and Lib. So I'll just be here talking about the Buckeyes for 2 hours, and then you let me know where to go.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'll follow instructions.
I'm good at that.
We'll see what happens. It was nice. I got a little yard work done today, which was great. Everything is finally dried out. I cleared out like our front bed in front of our house that looked like an absolute disaster from the springtime of, getting a nice trench put in the front of our yard last fall, and then a new roof and new gutters.
A pretty good run over there.
Yeah, it has. It's been nice. And then dealing with the water in the basement. So I feel like now I've kind of hit a zen moment. I'm like, all right, now we can focus on the little things that aren't imperative to the structure of our house. So that's what I did tonight. Spent most of it outside or earlier today, which was very nice. We got a great show lined up for you here on a Thursday. Austin, it's a Three Thoughts Tuesday on a Thursday. We'll do that with you coming up here in our next segment around 6:17. Joshua Perry, who needed a date night last night. He's going to join us tonight coming up here at 6:30. Jeremiah Smith has high praise for one freshman at Ohio State. You'll hear from him. You'll hear from a lot of the 7 Ohio State captains throughout the program. Get into the pulse at 7 o'clock. And then we'll get to your question of the day coming up here at 7:30. And it will take us to the newcomers at Ohio State. So I want you to put your thinking cap on, whether it's pertaining to freshmen or transfer guys.
Okay.
That's coming up here at 7:30. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll get you out to some Cleveland Browns football. We got the Pats, we got the Browns, final preseason game.
Is that a threat?
It's not a threat. I'm just telling you, an hour and 55 minutes away from right now that you're going to be listening to some Cleveland Browns football.
I won't be.
That's a fair point that you make. So we'll get you out to that at 8 o'clock. By the way, too, tonight, told you on Tuesday, if you were listening, Tuesday, Thursday this week, Tuesday, Thursday next week, we have a pair of Skip Mossick's personal Ohio State football tickets to go see the Buckeyes against Ball State next Saturday at the Horseshoe at 12:30. We'll be giving those away at some point in the near future, so stay tuned for that.
Could be anytime.
Could be right now, could be in a half hour, could be in an hour and a half, could be in 40 minutes. But we are going to be giving those away, Skip Mossick's personal tickets, which we guaranteed Skip and Evil Bald Colin will come down and shake your hand. All right, we came to that conclusion.
Probably Colin will also hand deliver one of his thousands of Ohio State polos from his closet. I cannot guarantee it, but it just seems like something he would do. He's such a generous guy.
He is. So you're going to get
That name doesn't really tell you.
He's not evil.
He's not evil at all.
He's not. He is. He doesn't have one evil bone in his
think
body.
it's the biggest misnomer of anyone I've ever met that he is referred to around here.
It's like Evil Cartman.
Yeah, correct.
Evil Cartman was the nice one.
Yes, Evil Bald Colin is the nice one.
No, well, nobody ever explained that to me.
Maybe the nicest person at a radio station, pound for pound. So he'll give you whatever you want out of his wardrobe.
That's what I'm thinking.
And a handshake from him and Skip Mossick. So we'll do that here in a little bit. Austin, you spent yesterday over at the Woody. What is burning in your brain right now about the Buckeyes coming off of checking in the last media availability for this version of the 2026 Buckeyes in their training camp before we get to game week next week, where we have a Tuesday Ryan Day press conference, a Thursday Ryan Day show, and then, of course, Saturday afternoon, 12:30, we get foot hits ball season underway for the Buckeyes.
I think it was interesting how Ryan Day and Ohio State talked about this week and the way that they were managing practice and the reps that they wanted to have for good on good and to evaluate ongoing competition with the backup quarterbacks and Luke Fahey and Tavian St. Clair, because and I fully recognize the difference between opening with a quote-unquote tune-up game against Ball State and kicking off right away with Texas, where once you got through the training camp portion where you're out of the hotel, players get to go back to their apartments, their houses, there's different levels of freedom that come with that, get the car keys back. This time last year was like 2 weeks of full-on laser lights focused game prep for Texas. Putting a game plan in.
Had to be.
Breaking down the film, checking out the tendencies, everything accounted for. And look, you don't, all due respect to every opponent and nameless, faceless, treat them all the same. The Buckeyes don't have to spend this week like unearthing every advantage that they possibly could find. So I do think that that's interesting. You kind of have a stretch where you can manage the health of your roster, make sure that everybody is 100%, not necessarily for September 5th specifically, but September 12th after that. And I think that that's going to be something worth monitoring next week, and how quickly the Buckeyes might be able to take care of the opener, how many reps they think that the starters need in game action to knock off whatever rust is there, because they can treat the start of the season very differently than they did last year, where everything was geared at 110% intensity towards Texas, knowing that after that was training camp 2.0. This team doesn't have that opportunity. So it is structured, I think, practice scrimmage-wise, scrimmage reps in a way that looks very different compared to a year ago. And also, the last couple of years, you zoom out. It's like now you're learning how to get through a 16-game season potentially. What
Pace of
needs
play has been a big adjustment, which Ohio State and Ryan Day has made on that front.
What needs to be done differently to make sure that you're peaking at the different times throughout the year and more frequently than they had to a year ago based on that schedule. So I think there's a lot of things that require constant evolution in analysis, that it's not just about Ryan Day. It's not just about Arthur Smith's offense. It's about, Mickey Marotti and that strength program, and making sure that everyone, if you're at 95%, you do need to scale it back on one day of practice. You think about Austin Saraveld missing some of those days in the middle of August. All right, we'll move this guy up here. All right, maybe take a step back, give Carter Lowe some reps at tackle. Like some of that give and take and back and forth throughout this month, I think has been really interesting, because when you have to go through 25 practices banging your helmet against your teammate, that gets old, and
it doesn't take 25 practices for it to get old either.
It takes about, I believe it was
7 or 8.
I think it was maybe practice 2 or 3 where Julian Sayin came off the field, and we had seen some shenanigans and fisticuffs, and he was like, yeah, it's already chippy out there. I mean, that's not unusual for a bunch of high achievers like you have on the Ohio State roster. But I think that added a different element, because you want to manage that. In some ways, a year ago, you would be pushing the envelope if you're Ryan Day, Mickey Marotti. Like, all right, find that absolute competitive edge right now and get that dog out for the opener, because you're facing an SEC opponent and one that you just saw in the Cotton Bowl the year before. You're hoping that you come out strong on September 5th, but you would really like to be at max capacity a week later after that.
Absolutely you would. I have a question for Ohio State fans out there. So we know the Texas game is coming week number 2. Last year it was week number 1. In years past, we saw Notre Dame be week number 1 and then week number 2, right? Traditionally, Ohio State will play 3 non-conference games right in a row. Now, there are, of course, exceptions to the rule. A couple of years ago, 5 years ago, back in 2021, they opened the season on the road with a Big Ten opponent in Minnesota. That was a, Thursday night game, right? I believe it was a Thursday night game against them.
Yeah,
but
and they had also had the Thursday night game at Indiana with the Mega Cast a couple years before that.
Yeah, so, I mean, traditionally, but, you're playing those first few games out of conference before you jump fully in to Big Ten conference play. My question for Ohio State fans, if you were going to have a marquee opponent, non-conference opponent on the schedule, would you rather it be week 1 right out of the gates where no team, whether it's you or Texas, Georgia, Alabama, teams that are on the future schedule, has any time to prepare other than camp, wade into the waters, get thrown in the deep end, figure it out? Would it be week 2 where you have a little bit of time to figure it out, or week 3 before heading into your conference schedule? I would be interested to know from Buckeye fans which one they would rather prefer it be before jumping in to that Big Ten schedule. Which week would you want that marquee non-conference opponent in?
I bet the answer from the fan base would be different than we would get from Ryan Day himself.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they want to open with those marquee games. And it's somewhat unavoidable because the broadcast partners and then some of the neutral parties that can throw money around, they want those week 1, week 0 kickoff games because they're not competing with the NFL and the ratings are off the charts. So like all the different parties would have different answers. I feel strongly that Ryan Day, he never answers directly the scheduling questions, but if you gave him some truth serum or put the television's Adam King lie detector on, he would say, yeah, I'd like both of those tune-up games to be before playing Texas or Alabama down the road or Georgia, if the Georgia series remains intact, and then build up towards that. If you're going to have those marquee out-of-conference games, you'd like for them to resonate and really be as close to the real thing as possible.
It's a Three Thoughts Tuesday on a Thursday. We'll do that with Austin. Coming up next, it's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Helping a new driver get ready for their road test? Here's a convenient new way to make the most of your 50 hours of required practice driving time. The Road Ready Ohio app, available now at no cost to new drivers and their families. Road Ready Ohio keeps track of your driving experience together, providing feedback and safe driving tips. It even generates the documentation you need for the Ohio BMV. The Road Ready Ohio app, free to download in the Apple and Google App Stores.
Ohio's public school educators are excited to welcome students back this school year to inspire their creativity, spark their curiosity, and help every child reach their full potential in school and beyond. That's why Ohio Education Association members are standing together to advocate for the support and resources our students need to succeed. Please stand with us so every child gets the great public education they deserve, because in Ohio, public education matters.
Are you ready to sail, Buckeye Nation? Join us February 19th to February 26, 2027, as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer out of Barbados on the Silver Sea, Silver Ray. Meet more than 35 Buckeye greats plus some of your favorite current Buckeyes, all while making memories and helping beat cancer. You don't want to miss this ultimate Buckeye fan experience. We can't wait to see you on board. Let's celebrate 20 years of making a difference. Visit BuckeyeCruise.com for more information.
Okay, ranch lovers, Donato's just changed the game. They've got an all-new, house-made buttermilk ranch that is absolutely next level. We're talking creamy, tangy, and made fresh in-house. Try it drizzled over their savory new chicken bacon ranch pizza, or use it as the perfect cooling dip for the spicy kick on their new buffalo chicken dip pizza. Don't wait. Try Donato's all-new house-made buttermilk ranch today.
Bob's Discount Furniture has the furniture you've waited 250 years for. We've got power reclining sofas as low as $7.99, 5-piece dining sets as low as $3.99, Bob-O-Pedic mattresses for as low as $2.99, and of course feature-packed bestsellers like my Playday sectional with pop-up sleeper sofa. So stop in or shop mybobs.com to see where America shops for furniture. Oh, my Bob! Bob's Discount Furniture, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
As America's largest custom home builder, Schumacher Homes believes a top-quality home should be affordable for everyone in the Buckeye State. We work with the leading architects to bring you the latest in design, and then you have the ability to make changes. Not just selecting finishes, but moving walls, adding rooms, literally customizing anything from the ground up. It's a misconception that custom homes have to be expensive. We work within your budget to build an amazing home on your land. Visit SchumacherHomes.com or any of our 9 Ohio locations.
Buckeye Replay this summer takes you back to some of the greatest comebacks in Ohio State football history.
The Buckeyes take down Minnesota in one of the biggest comebacks in college football history.
Hear Buckeye Replay this Saturday at 1 p.m. on The Fan.
AgPro has been family owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Modern Office Methods, your authorized RICO dealer, can help your business optimize your print production with a competitive advantage. Our digital printing options will expand the type of paper and substrates from what your business can print on today. Add variable data capability, which allows for personalization of catalogs and mailers, and the ability for short-run label printing, which allows your business to print high volumes of custom labels quickly and on demand. Want to learn more? Start with a print assessment at momnet.com. Why risk it? You can count on Mom.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are heading into what looks to be a dry, sunny weekend ahead. Overnight tonight, clearing skies into Friday morning. Low temps at 63 on Friday. A lot of sunshine, a dry day, 82 across central Ohio. Saturday is sunny, 83. And Sunday, dry, sunny, warmer at 87. That is your 97.1 The Fan weather forecast. I'm 10 Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer.
We here at The Fan believe there's no such thing as too much Ohio State coverage. You're locked into the Buckeye Show.
Hanging out with my guy A-Ward Sports, Austin Ward. A-Dog with us behind the glass here this evening. Just looking on ESPN right now. Left tackle Josh Simmons to have back evaluated. Former Buckeye, of course. High pick by the Kansas City Chiefs.
It's bad luck with the injuries for Josh Simmons.
Absolutely bad luck, right? I mean, was it a full camp or first full year for him? Kind of got banged up a little bit. Austin had some things going on, I believe, family member stuff. And then, still having his back evaluated. I saw yesterday on the Josh Simmons front that he was supposed to be full go. So I don't know exactly what transpired. As a person who's had back issues and has had a recent back issue, that is no fun to deal with at all.
Those can emerge in the blink of an eye, or, I don't know, the turn of a head, or getting rammed in the back by a golf cart.
Twice.
Any of those things can flare up that back a little bit.
Absolutely, man. All right, so Three Thoughts Tuesday on a Thursday with you. Got to spend Monday over at the Woody with Ryan Day. Also got to spend yesterday over at the Woody on a little Woody Wednesday talking to the not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 captains for
Thanks,
the Buckeyes.
LeBron.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Just what's your thoughts heading into the season now, Austin, as we are 9 days away from Ohio State kicking off the season against Ball State?
Yeah, I just would really love, not just this in-between training camp and game week stuff to be over and to get to September 5th, because we have broken down this roster and the potential for this depth chart basically every way that we possibly can. It feels like there's a pretty good handle on it, but seeing it actually out there in game action, I think, is going to be really exciting, really informative. Pick whatever description you want to use for it, but to see if there are 19 players contributing on defense, if there are personnel groupings that give you 20 or 21 players who might be out there on offense. If this depth is as good as Ryan Day described it on Monday, and thinking about him talking specifically about the wide receivers, that all of this run, this historic run of first-round draft picks, and there were absolutely times where you would see 6 guys in that rotation, but it has been pared down over the last few years. Even if you still have first-round draft picks, you saw on the way to the championship 2 years ago, a bunch of 5 stars were still sort of waiting in the wings, including someone like Brandon Ennis, who had contributed in some form or fashion, but not to the level that he wanted to. Brandon Ennis taking that step forward, getting the Block O jersey. Jeremiah Smith, we already know that he is from a different planet. But this next wave, even if they're all potentially game ready, Devin McEwen, still waiting to see what the injury for Kyle Parker looks like in terms of his availability heading into September. Chris Henry Jr., Jerquaden Guilford, Brock Boyd, Phillip Bell, Desi Jones, that's beyond 6 that could potentially go. I don't really think that you can make enough room for 8 wide receivers to play it for Ohio State.
I think Jay-Z and I were talking about this a little last night when we heard Ryan Day talk about going 6 deep at wide receiver and how many he feels comfortable with. It's not that you're just going to have 6 wide receivers playing all year. And I think he means, and what you're saying, Austin, is the rotation of 6 players. They obviously have players who they feel comfortable with getting spot time or in mop-up duty that will obviously see the field. But what that rotation could look like on a game-in, game-out basis if someone needs a little bit of a break.
Yeah, but you think about 2018, 2019, that was really a position unit that didn't just rely on its top 3 and did kind of interchangeably use a 4th, a 5th, a 6th wide receiver out there that wasn't contingent, like didn't have to be mop-up duty, didn't have to be late in the game. And I don't know if that's going to be the direction that Cortez Hankton goes or that Ryan Day or Arthur Smith want to go. When you have Jeremiah Smith as one of those countable pieces, it's going to be incredibly difficult and maybe foolish to take him off of the field at any time. So that takes up some of that. And the other complicating factor in this equation is assuming that Ohio State might play slightly quicker at times this season than they have the last couple, but it's not going to be demonstrably different, I don't believe. And so if you're still living in a world where it's 65 to 70 snaps a game, and maybe you don't always wait until there's 1 or 2 seconds on the play clock to snap it, but you're still not going to be going at warp speed or vintage Chip Kelly, tempo. I think that part of college football is largely gone and is not really a philosophy that Ryan Day wants to bring back. Well, half of those 65 to 70 snaps are going to be run plays. So you're going to need to find which wide receivers. That Brandon Ennis, that's also what makes him difficult to take off of the field for Ohio State, is he's the best blocker in that room. Mm-hmm. So that gives him an inside track to at least half and probably 15 or 20 more snaps on top of that.
So we're at 3/4.
And whatever number of carries you go. So from that next group then, and we know that this was the case, for Brian Hartline or for Zach Smith before that, or for any wide receivers coach who has ever worked at Ohio State, if you don't block, you're not going to be on the field. They don't just put you out there because you're an elite pass catcher and that's all you can do. And part of the, I think, inconsistency for Ohio State with the run game a year ago is that they did not on the perimeter. That includes, Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, which, I can understand why you want that extraordinary trait out there as receiving threats. But Jeremiah Smith is the first person who brought this up in the start of spring camp. Didn't block well enough on the perimeter. That became the point of emphasis for him. I'm quite certain that he will be elevating his production level at that point. But either way, Brandon Ennis is going to be the guy who sets the tone there. And then if you are assuming that Jeremiah Smith is not coming off the field, what's going to allow a Chris Henry Jr., a Brock Boyd, a Devin McEwen, Kyle Parker, whoever else to separate and then chip away into some of those 3rd, 4th, 5th wide receiver reps that exist? That's going to be up to helping out that run game. And I think that maybe we haven't talked or thought about that enough
I don't think we have at all. I mean, I think when we've talked about the emergence of a wide receiver 3 or 4 or 5, I think immediately, naturally, we go to pass catching ability, route running ability. Can they get open? Can Julian Sayin trust them to catch the football? I don't think we go at all to can Ryan Day, can Arthur Smith, can Tyler Bowen, can Keenan Bailey, can Cortez Hankton, Carlos Loughlin trust them to block on a run play.
And
right or wrong, I don't think we go there. With,
and there are
with
a lot
receivers.
And there are also a lot of other dynamics at play here that what could open up more reps and more rotation for the wide receivers. It is still this thing that I'm talking about with productive run blocking on the perimeter. If Ohio State doesn't think that they can get that from three wide receivers on the field or more, then they're going to be playing 12 personnel and 2 tight ends to get that done. They're not just going to be like, well, suddenly we're the run and shoot Buckeyes here, and Arthur Smith's coming out and throwing the football 50 times, and Ryan Day's signing off on that and expanding the aerial attack. That's not going to be the shift for the Ohio State offense. For all of the upgrades that Ryan Day has made in his tenure at Ohio State to bring the aerial attack into this century and beyond, at his core, he still wants a balanced offense, and deeper at his core wants to be able to rely on a power rushing attack. Not power with a fullback, not out of a two-back eye formation, but he needs to be able to know that on 3rd and 2 that they're going to get a first down.
The philosophy from Urban has not changed that much with that instance.
But the way that they want to get that done has. You're not asking Julian Sayin to go run quarterback power 15 times and quarterback counter and have, thinking back a decade now, JT Barrett running into the line of scrimmage and moving the pile 6 or 7 times for first down in a game. So, but the way that they want to accomplish that is different, but the overarching philosophy isn't that different between those two coaches, which is why they work so successfully together. But all of that is to say, if you want to be carving out of that 70 reps enough to spread it around to 6 different wide receivers, it's going to be up to Chris Henry Jr. and Brock Boyd and, Phillip Bell, who's really had a strong camp, Devin McEwen, to show that they can hold up at that point of attack and put a body on a body, and then let Bo Jackson or Isaiah West or Jacoby Jackson build off of it from there. And then it's the next step. You're saying, when we get to a third thought, I don't know, they're all kind of jumbled up together and, interwoven for these tonight, but the wide receivers have to take that step forward to help the run game, and the running backs have to be more explosive and more dynamic, making those defenders miss. And it's all connected. And that feeds into how many tight ends will play. That's been the position that Ryan Day has sort of, narrowed his focus on over the last couple of days. It's like, all right, here's the 3 that have separated. Now what can they all do to the best level? So, but all of that, I think, ultimately comes down to the ability for this team to run the football.
Yeah, I do too. And, there was a kind of a gauntlet laid down by Ryan Day. Like, we need to be better at the second level. They feel like during the Indiana game, during the Miami game, there were some plays that they could potentially have turned a 3-yard gain into a 30-yard gain, 15-yard gain, whatever, a chunk play, an explosive play in their terms. But I'm with you. We haven't heard the 250 out of Ryan Day, but I very much believe that mindset is still there, that they want to be pretty even in the pass game, in the run game.
I don't really miss hearing 250.
What about
it's
the
great
bullet? Do you miss hearing the bullet?
I would rather hear about the bullet
What
than
about the
250.
jack?
I'm good without the jack
All right.
and the Leo. Yeah. And all the rest. But it's great to have these lofty goals. But it's like the game's not
250 is a lot.
Game's not really played that way. And also, how are you going to get there if you run your quarterback 20 times a game, Urban? Like, that's not going to work.
It did. Some games. Yeah, not many. Other games it didn't. Joshua Perry, he's going to join us. We'll talk some college ball with him coming up here in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
AR, between road trips and hauling gear, you ever think about a Suburban?
Absolutely. I could fit everybody and every animal in there. McDaniel GM Superstore. Got my truck there, and it was the easiest deal I've ever made.
No hidden fees?
None. And right now, the 26 Suburban is up to $10,000 off MSRP.
$10,000, that's money left in your pocket and the space you need.
Terms and conditions apply for qualified buyers. Head to McDaniel GM Superstore, north on 23 off Route 95 in Marion. McDanielGMSuperstore.com.
Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
When your furnace or air conditioner stops working, you can always rely on Atlas Butler to get it up and running the same day. So why not depend on Atlas Butler for all your plumbing needs? Our expert plumbers can take care of anything from a clogged drain to a broken water heater. We work on all brands of water heaters and plumbing equipment. One call does it all.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Relax and let Kroger Pickup handle your grocery shopping this week. We start with only the freshest items, then choose your favorites, carefully pack everything up, and load it right into your trunk so you can feel confident it's what you ordered. Fresh groceries your way with Kroger Pickup and Delivery. And right now, you can save $20 on your first pickup or delivery order. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Cancer. For some, it's one of life's fiercest foes, but not at the James. While cancer hides, we hunt as a team like no other, giving patients access to the most advanced treatment options and sparking new hope. So if you just heard the words, "you have cancer," you should know this. We heard them too. And there's no better team in the nation to create a cancer-free world. The James at Ohio State.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
All Buckeyes, all the time. You are listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hanging out my guy, A-Ward Sports, Austin Ward this evening. Right now we head out to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Check with our good friend. He is Joshua Perry. JP, thanks for the time. Always appreciate it. How's noon to 3 been treating you this week? And do we have a final deliberation on the strawberry versus grape jelly debate?
Noon to 3 has been phenomenal. Great time slot. Glad I was able to do it for these first few days. I was supposed to be talking to you guys from Connecticut this evening, but they had some weather there in New York, so I'm waiting for an Uber to take me back to Delaware, Ohio, and I will hop on a plane tomorrow morning. So I am not very happy about that. In terms of the jelly debate, listen, man, I know grape is supposed to be the thing for me culturally, but the strawberry just has that right tang, so I'm going to stick to my guns and say it's strawberry jelly all day.
I just want to say a quick thing on that. I hadn't had strawberry jelly, JP, probably until I turned 27 years old, which was only about 5 years ago. Like I was raised in a Welch's grape household. Like even like some of the blackberry mixed berry jellies / jams. Like I'd never forayed into that because all I knew was grape jelly.
It's hilarious because Cole was like, I've never really had grape before. And I'm like, that tracks. Absolutely tracks. And so to hear this out of you is a little bit of like bizarro world right now, but I'm here for it.
Now you're rattled. JP, let me ask you this. What is the right age to take a young child to their first NFL game?
That is a hell of a question.
I know.
I think part of it is based off of their, every child develops differently, right? So like, what is their tolerance to sit through all of that, their maturity level? What is their interest in the actual game? I feel like 5 is probably pushing it. I think once you get into the 7 to 8 range, you should be pretty good to go. So I would say outside of like people who take infants to games, which I think is an insane thing, and I'm not telling you not to do it. I know how stressed out I was as a parent of like, babies. Like I would never do it. So outside of infancy, I would say probably 5 is like the lower limit, and probably 7 to 8, you're feeling pretty good.
Hypothetically, a 3.5-year-old at a Thursday night football game in Chicago for the Bears against the Patriots, you would say you're not signing off on that?
It's not for me to sign off on. It's just not something that I could see myself doing.
I get it. I understand. That's been the whole debate this afternoon as we check in with our guy Joshua Perry with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. JP, camp wrapping up for Ohio State. Number 1 team in the AP preseason poll. Number 1 team in the AP in the coaches poll. 12:30 at the Shoe next Saturday against Ball State. What's your biggest question about this iteration of the Ohio State Buckeyes going into this 2026 season, JP?
I mean, I think the easy answer is, what is the defense this year? Personnel-wise, I think they have to maybe be a little bit different than what they were in terms of the scheme last year. They had guys at linebacker level that you could basically do anything with. They had guys who were in the secondary, Caleb Downs in particular, that you felt pretty good having him do just about anything. So scheme-wise, you can get away with a lot. I think just not having maybe that level of ability and maybe some more depth to role personnel causes you to be a little bit different in terms of identity. So I'd like to see that. But the other one for me, it's like the big one is, what does the wide receiver rotation actually look like? And what kind of production are you getting outside of Jeremiah? And we know that he should get a good portion of the targets, but he's going to get the majority of the attention. So who else steps up in that situation? Who's going to be like really the next guy up in that room? And that's what I'm curious to see.
JP, you touched on the linebackers, and this situation is obviously, we know it's different when you're replacing Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles and 2 top 10 draft picks, but you have Peyton Pierce back. He's going to be the green dot. He's got a captaincy. We know all the leadership components for him. When you watch him in practice, when you watch his film from when he was on the field last year, what is it about his game that resonates for you?
Well, I think he, first off, they've got a really good coach in James Laurinaitis, and I say this all the time, and I think it bears repeating, but part of coaching is players. I think he's done a great job of that, but I also think Peyton Pearson's really taken to that style of coaching. Really smart player, and he's really physical. And if I'm looking at linebackers and I'm trying to pick, like, what guys do I want to add to my linebacker room, give me smart dudes that are tough and physical, and I'll figure out the rest of the equation there. I think his leadership obviously has shown up too, which is a huge trait. You want guys in the middle of the defense that can take control of things. And that's what I'm most excited to see there, is that they've got a legitimate leader, a captain in that linebacker room. And I want to see him run the show.
JP, I feel like everyone has thoughts on the 7 captains being announced for Ohio State. Now, you played in an era of Ohio State football, which had a lot of captains. I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9. It seemed like you guys every year kind of had a large amount. Now, that kind of went by the wayside, 3, 4, 5. I think some of Ohio State fans this year were surprised that there may be 7, but all these guys earned their teammates' votes. So when you were going through the process, when you were at school, when you were playing football at Ohio State, compared to now, are you surprised that they went back to, I guess, more captains this season?
I'm not shocked just because of what the roster ended up looking like. I think you want to be in a spot where it's difficult to draw the line on captains. And listen, you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen, right? Like, you want to make sure that you have the right voices in the front of the room and the people that can take control. And ultimately, the roster knows who to listen to, and the coaching staff understands who's calling the shots when they're not around. However, when we were there, as you mentioned, we had a ton of guys who just had really strong leadership qualities, and it was difficult for us to say that, Tyvis Powell couldn't be a captain, Braxton Miller wasn't going to be a captain. That would have been insane for us in 2015. So I can appreciate exactly, think great communication, and they have to be able to kind of, run their spheres of influence in concert with one another. But it's great for me to see, because I know Ryan Day's talked about legacy this year. And I think part of legacy is having the right guys to be able to lead the players into what their ultimate potential is.
Joshua, you mentioned, Braxton in that answer, and Julian Sayin is a captain now for Ohio State. For someone on the defensive side of the ball, how, in your perspective, how important is it for a quarterback? Like, they don't spend as much time going to talk with you guys on the other side of the ball, right? Like, how important is it for the quarterback to be a captain and be able to communicate with you guys that are on the defensive side?
Well, I think quarterback being captain's a huge deal. First off, like, he's the guy whose voice everybody hears the most. It's the guy that everybody in the media wants to talk to. It's the guy in the offensive huddle who's calling the shots. It should be the one on the sidelines who's rallying the troops. And so I think just for that standpoint, you want him to be a leader. I think it gives guys on defense a lot of confidence in what the offense is going to be that year, when the quarterback and the guy who touches the ball every single play ends up being one of your best leaders as well. But, just in terms of that back and forth between offense and defense, like the quarterback gets so much of the praise and so much of the blame. And when you're able to just go directly to that guy and talk about issues that you're seeing, I think it kind of gets right to the source of things because, you know, if the offense is going to have a bad day, like, you know, sometimes they'll talk about the offensive line or maybe the wide receivers had a couple of uncharacteristic drops, but a lot of times it's going to be what the quarterback didn't do. And so if you can help him get ahead of that just in terms of what you're seeing from a different perspective, I think it makes the team a lot better.
Hey, JP, I know you shared your thoughts on this situation to me via text on Tuesday when we were talking about it, but the Big Ten, the SEC kind of squashing players going from the NFL back to college. The NFL actually squashing players going from college back to the NFL if they've signed a contract. Today, I believe you had the Big 12 and the ACC kind of follow suit. Your ideas, your thoughts on what has transpired in this last 4 or 5 days or so of players becoming now ineligible based on the conference's rules, not necessarily a courtroom order for returning to college football after being in the NFL?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on this, as a matter of fact. So I'll start with this. And I feel like we for so long, as we talked about college football, we were kind of soft on talking about players because these guys are amateurs. And now we're talking about dudes who are like actual legitimate pros that are trying to go back. So I think we need to center the conversation on the fact that these dudes figured out that they might be bums who couldn't cut it in the NFL and wanted to come back to college football because they could make any money in college football where they would have made no money in the NFL. And I think that's really unfortunate. I think a lot of the way that people have talked about this is as if it's something passive that has just happened to the sport and that there aren't active participants like players, like agents, like lawyers, like friendly judges, like coaches calling players and telling them to ask to be cut by the teams that they're on, which I think is totally insane. So I think we need to recenter on the fact that this is like an active thing that people are doing, not it's happening to college football. But I give a lot of credit to the conferences, and it feels almost like a trial run of self-governance on their part. And I think they've tried to protect themselves because, and this is me playing lawyer, I'm obviously not one. I should call Michael Bennett. Maybe he can help me on this.
He won't. I've asked him about this. He has no clue.
Part of the NCAA's issue is you could call them a cartel, and they're the monopoly, they are the trust, and that was part of their issue is like they made one rule, it was a blanket for everybody, you couldn't do anything about it. Conference to conference, it's like you're basically saying, yeah, maybe you can play somewhere else, you just can't play for us. I think there's maybe a little bit of a layer of protection there, and the other part is we're not going to tell the players that they can't come back. What we're going to do is penalize the coaches in the institutions if they decide to play those players. And all those guys have completely opted into whatever the process is. So those are my thoughts on it. I think it's a crazy time that we're in. Ryan Day said it the best, like, we probably ought to stop saying, like, oh, man, this thing couldn't get any crazier because it obviously is going to. But, yeah, I never would have imagined that we would have guys who are like, I achieved my ultimate dream when I first put on the helmet in the 4th grade. I wanted to be a pro. And I got to the pros and I said, you know what, screw it, I'm going back to school.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to believe, but you know what, JP, that was eloquently thought out, and always appreciate your opinion. Hey, before we get you out of here, Big Desk Saturday afternoon, San Jose State, USC. I know you're pretty high on the Trojans this year.
I am. I put them in my playoff bracket. I think it's crunch time for Lincoln Riley, just to say it simply, and I think he understands that. They'll take some losses. They've got a tough schedule, but I think that they've got enough talent on that team and a legitimate defensive coordinator in Gary Patterson to maybe have some changes there. So excited to get the early look at them. Make sure you guys tune in.
Absolutely. 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. What time's your broadcast start, 2?
2:30.
All right, 2:30. We'll be watching you on the Big Desk for Week 0. JP, always appreciate the time. Safe travels home this evening. Safe travels to Connecticut tomorrow morning. Hopefully you get there in time, all right?
All right, appreciate you guys.
There he goes, our guy, Joshua Perry, with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Jeremiah Smith has pretty high praise for this Ohio State freshman. You'll hear from him coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State athletics, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Welcome back to Yeah, That's a Pepper Thing. First up, we've got Harrison wrapping his Dr. Pepper in a tiny quilt so it feels at home. Oh, how tender. That's a Pepper Thing. And over to Becca, who's whispering affirmations to her can.
You're sweet. You're unique. You're the best thing I ever poured over ice.
She swears it makes it taste better. It's not a science thing, but it's a Pepper Thing. Why do they all do it? All for that sweet, delicious, truly one-of-a-kind taste of Dr. Pepper. It's a Pepper Thing.
Football season is here. Make sure your internet is ready. Kinetic's 100% fiber gives you the fast, reliable connection to enjoy live football on YouTube TV and watch up to 4 live games at once with Multiview. Check real-time stats and catch more big plays without missing a snap. Take your game watching to a whole new level. Switch to Kinetic. Save up to $120 on your first year of YouTube TV. Visit GoKinetic.com for details. Subject to availability and eligibility. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. Cancel anytime. Kinetic. Internet better.
Nothing annoys me more than wasting time. Scotty Vegas here, and I want to be golfing or playing tennis or betting on people golfing and playing tennis. I hate waiting on an oil change, but that's all changed. Krieger Ford, the car buying experience was amazing. The service, just as good. I left my Bronco in the driveway and easily scheduled an oil change at KriegerFord.com, and they even came right to me and changed it. All game changer, the Krieger Ford experience. Experience that at KriegerFord.com.
Looking to launch a career in the skilled trades but don't know where to begin? Part-time service in the Ohio Army National Guard can help. You can kickstart your career by enlisting in one of our many trades-based jobs. Get paid to learn these skills and gain on-the-job training when you report to your unit 1 weekend a month or 2 weeks in the summer. To learn how the Guard can pay for your civilian trade certification, visit nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard in coordination with the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, getting ahead in this world is not as complicated as it might seem. Having the early guidance and counsel of your community banker, one who knows you and your family's story, can make a great deal of difference. Relationships matter. Bank on community banking. I'm Scott McComb. Coming over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on being the best at one thing and getting it right every time. Which is why every chicken finger meal we serve is marinated, hand-battered, cooked to order, and made just for you. Quality isn't complicated, and our menu is proof.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Love football, love wings. Put those bad boys together and you get Austin and Byrne live at Roosters.
Sponsored by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
Large amounts of football and all the donkey sauce you can handle. Mondays on the Fans YouTube channel.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Introducing Optimized IT, the managed services division of Modern Office Methods. With our cutting-edge managed IT services, we bring proven management strategies to the table to support your current IT team. That's not all. Our experienced team provides insight on how to maximize efficiency, helping you achieve your goals faster. Concerned about security? Our backup solutions help guarantee your data is protected around the clock, giving you peace of mind. Start at OptimizedIT.net for your free IT assessment. Stay ahead, stay secure, and stay up.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, the Fan. Are we drinking the scarlet and gray Kool-Aid? You bet we are. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hanging out with my guy Austin Ward here this evening. Hey, Austin.
Yeah.
Why don't you give me a number?
Number 4.
Number 4. Caller number 4 right now. 614-821-9710. That's the phone number. You get in. You talk to our guy, Nate Dogg, and you're going to be walking away with a pair of tickets to go see Ohio State versus Ball State Saturday, 12:30 over at the Horseshoe in 9 days.
Oh, my gosh. It is so close.
Nate, first name, last name, email address. That's all I need from you over there. 614-821-9710. Caller number 4, you get in, talk to Nate Dogg. Again, walking away with a pair of tickets to go see the Buckeyes in their season opener on Senior Day. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe Senior Day is already here.
I can't either, Austin. But you know what?
It goes fast.
Skip Mossick's personal tickets, and they are very good. I've seen them.
They're elite.
Yeah, they are. All right. So it seems that we have our winner already. It's pretty amazing, the waterfall of phone calls that come in when we're giving away Buckeye football tickets.
Was it not this way for the Zach Brown Band concert?
Well, I mean, it was. It wasn't quite this, but those phone lines immediately.
No offense to Zach Brown.
No, I mean, he's giving away Margaritaville cruises.
I don't know if he was.
Well, someone was. Margaritaville was.
Yeah, I don't think ZBB's got $30 million to give cruises away to everybody.
He might.
Does he?
I don't know.
I guess I don't.
I don't know what he's worth.
There's only one way to find out. We'll have to
I'm
ask
not
him.
using Claude. All right, I'm not using Claude.
What about the Waikiki Padaya?
I'm not using that either. Let me just tell you something. So, Television's Adam King, freshly back from Italia,
allegedly
the home of Francesco Bernoulli,
one and only.
Yeah. So he was supposed to come on the show today at 6:46.
What's 6:50 right now?
To do his book report. Now, I haven't seen him all day, so he hasn't been into work. I know he's going to be in here tomorrow. We only have 30 minutes tomorrow, as we'll get you out to our high school football game of the week coming up tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. He has straight up just not, he deferred. He didn't want to come in for it.
That tells me one thing, and one thing only.
How many pages do you think he's read?
3.
I don't think he's even gotten that far.
I mean, you've read more pages of that book than he has, then.
I read a solid 15 pages of it.
I think he is ducking the accountability. And the person, like, you and I have earned those bragging rights over him, and he must pay the punishment. But the person who I think is most interested and demanding of that level of ownership and accountability is Jacob Reimer. He popped in here after he was doing Common Man and Timmy and was asking for more clarification about his own penalties.
He said, guys, I have a great NCAA tournament shirt from Greenville where Ohio State was playing, and also North Carolina and Duke were playing, that Television's Nicole Sheeran bought me, which was very nice for her. Can I wear that? And we said, absolutely not. It's got a North Carolina Tar Heel logo on it. You're not wearing that for the Duke logo.
It's the only reason. Well, he wanted to wear it for the North Carolina so that he could backdoor his way in to having Tar Heels gear on in the office. I think he would probably wear it every single day. Like, no, we know why you're doing that. So we're not going to fall for that. But he said, I've been sticking to my end of the bargain. And
he has for the most part.
And when he has violated the terms, he has paid the penance. He's the one, I think, that will lash out and seek retribution if Television's Adam King has not been reading all about whatever is happening when Meg becomes a god instead of Hercules.
As any good teammate should. Also, congrats to Mark. He knew that he needed to be caller number 4 tonight. Congrats to you, Mark. You're going to be going to see the Buckeyes take on Ball State next Saturday over at the Horseshoe, 9 days away from right now. Give me a second. When we get to break, I'll send you over those tickets. I have them in my possession, so I'll get those to you. Don't worry about that. Reminder, next Tuesday and next Thursday, we'll also be giving away a pair of Buckeye tickets against Ball State. So it's not your last chance to win here on the Buckeye Show. Austin, when you were joining us right after your Woody Wednesday last evening, you said something perked your ears up, and it came by the way of junior captain number 4, Jeremiah Smith.
Segment synergy. That's why I chose that number for you.
That is correct. Thank you very much for doing that. Good job. And I feel like a lot of Ohio State fans, if you heard this last night or if you haven't heard it at all, he was asked about the performance of Legend Bay and what he's expecting out of him. And if we thought the Legend Bay hype train maybe have slowed down a little bit, Austin, well,
no sirree, Bob.
I don't think that's the case.
I think I said this back in spring. I said it to Luke Montgomery. I said, before Legend Bay leave Ohio State, he'll be a Heisman finalist or he'll end up winning it. And the things he's been doing in practice has been pretty special for sure.
All right, so we're just there. We're just doing that now.
Then Jalen McClain, before he wrapped up his press conference, somebody asked him, "Hey, why are the offensive guys talking about Legend Bay so much? Like, what do you guys make of trying to stop him?" And he's like, "Well, he's really fast, and if he gets to the corner, he's gone. We can't let him do that. You got to hit him." It's like, good luck to other defenders who have to do that in real games. The Buckeyes have been doing it in practice all month. Now, that's a pretty good defense and a pretty athletic defense. They might be better positioned to do that than some others, primarily Ball State next week. And that's another thing just to add to the intrigue heading into September 5th. And it's another player when we talk about the wide receiver rotation and 4, 5, 6 guys, what is that going to look like? That Legend Bay can eat away into some of those reps the same way that he can in the backfield with Bo Jackson and Isaiah West and Jacoby Jackson. He is, the hybrid weapon. He is some of the X factor here. And even on those first couple days after the suspension, and he gets back and immediately on day 3 goes right back into getting some reps with the ones. Ohio State, I've never known them to be hyperbolic about a player. And I say it every single time. It is a core tenet of the Austin and Berm Show and the Buckeye Show. Yep. Makes no accidents. They fully intend on Legend Bay being a key part of this offense. Now, key, I don't know what that means in terms of carries. Key in terms of absolutely having a role.
Absolutely, he is. And I don't know what that role is going to be. I don't think it's going to be 10 carries a game. But also, I wouldn't dare say that there isn't going to be a game in which he gets 10 touches of the football during this season.
I bet we'll see that.
I would assume that we will. Whether that's, I don't know. And again, I don't know what they're going to do on punt return. I don't know what they're going to do on kick return. If I'm Legend Bay right now, I'm trying my absolute best. If Jeremiah Smith's giving me the Heisman hype train, to do whatever I can to be the sole punt returner for this football team.
Yeah, and, I think there has to be some, measure of, conservative goal setting for him and a dash of realism. Carlos Lachlan has stressed every time he's been on the practice field and every time he's talked about Legend Bay, this guy has to learn how to protect the football, carry the football, and those are going to be high leverage moments and a lot of physicality.
If you can't do that, you're not going to play.
And you're definitely not going to take punt returns and kick returns if you can't be trusted to hold on to the football, let alone find a role on offense. So that, that's the one piece of this that still has to be, I think, maybe sorted out to allow him to fully tap into that potential, which is not uncommon. It was the same discussion that we were having in September of last year about Bo Jackson.
We do have some answers on college players entering the NFL midway through the college football season. We'll do that in the Pulse coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
On this episode of Science Stuff, we're examining the fastest things on the planet, like the cheetah. It can reach a land speed of over probably having an off day happens to everybody, but here is the American race car. People love the thrill of the... Okay. Next up is the Falcon. No, all right. Oh, Great Caesar's ghost, what was that? Why, I think we've found the fastest... Let's watch in slow motion.
Hi, it's Alex, the friendly Apex...
It's Apex Pros, the pros who knows. They're the fastest thing on the planet. When you have a problem with your plumbing, furnace, air conditioner, or electrical system, Apex Pros gets to you faster than apparently everything. Leaves are blown from trees. Paint is stripped from buildings. Mothers clutch their children's hands. Because when you have something broken in your plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, you don't want to wait.
Columbus loves Apex Pros. ApexPros.com.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call The Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts, and for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
Hey, Buckeye fans. For 65 years, Town Properties has helped make Central Ohio a great place to live, creating thriving communities across the Columbus region. Today, we're proud to serve more than 25,000 households, from downtown Columbus to neighborhoods throughout Central Ohio. Learn more at townproperties.com. That's town with an E, properties.com. Town Properties. Great places to live for 65 years and counting.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good evening, I'm Nate Butterball with your sports update. NFL preseason action tonight sees the Cleveland Browns at home taking on New England. Dylan Gabriel is getting the start at quarterback for the Browns. Kickoff is at 8. Catch all the action immediately following the Buckeye Show. The Browns are today cut veteran wide receiver Cedric Tillman. Other games tonight see Buffalo playing host to Pittsburgh, the 49ers visiting the Raiders, and the Battle of Los Angeles between the Rams and Chargers. The Bengals will play their final preseason game tomorrow in Philadelphia. Off nights for both the Cincinnati Reds and Cleveland Guardians. The Reds play a matinee tomorrow at the Cubs, and Cleveland opens a home series with Kansas City. The Guardians currently hold the final wildcard spot in the American League and are just 2.5 games back in the AL Central. The Columbus Clippers are on the road tonight, continuing a series with Indianapolis. PGA Championship in Atlanta sees Minwoo Lee take the round 1 lead at 8 under par. Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa, and Chris Scott are up all set 2 strokes back. Bringing sports news and weapons to the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
It's time for the College Football Pulse on the Buckeye Show.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hour number 2 of the program for us here on a lovely little Thursday. Always appreciate everybody listening into the program, watching the show on YouTube, chiming in on the YouTube chat. If you were listening a little bit earlier, Joshua Perry, he joined the show at 6:30. Great insight from him as always. Austin asked a great hypothetical question. At which age...
It just came to me.
Is it appropriate to take your child to an NFL game? Let me ask you this. At which age is it appropriate for you to take your child to an Ohio State game? Home at the Horseshoe.
I would think that you could do that whenever you want.
Okay.
What deck are you in?
Nate's got strong feelings about C deck, as do I.
Yeah, Nate.
I don't want to carry the kid all the way up and down C deck.
I get it. I understand that. We went to a game one time. This had to be more than 10 years ago. They were playing UNLV like the second week of the season, either the first week in September or the last week in August. And we sat at eye level with the flagpole in the north end zone. And I'm like, boy, am I smoking hot? And are we a mile up here in the sky? We don't want a toddler falling down those steps.
Sure don't. That's a nasty scene. So you got to have the right seats for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we took Liberty to a crew game when she was 3 weeks old, so I'm probably not the right person to ask for the correct age.
Yeah, we took William to a crew game at the new place when he was probably 4 or 5 months old, and then we went to a crew 2 game. Heck is plausible when he was about 3 months old.
Yeah, I mean, she was fully strapped, whatever the baby Bjorn. I don't know. I don't know if that was the logo that was actually on this one or not, but just walked around with her, had the headphones on, stayed through the whole game.
So the reason you asked Joshua Perry this question is because, again, this is a hypothetical.
I think it's becoming more realistic
State has
every minute.
Ohio State has an off week on October 24th. Now, I've taken some time off that week, and I've said to myself, and I've said to William as well, I'm like, let's go somewhere, because we did the Cleveland trip a month ago or so, and he really enjoyed it. And now he's at the point in time, like, an age where you can go places and it's pretty cool. Like it's more cool than it is a hassle to take a kid. So like we went to the Science Museum in Cleveland right on the banks of Lake Erie, and it was great. Like we spent 4 hours in there and he was running around having a grand old time. So I've also told my wife, Meredith, my lovely bride, I said, hey, what do you think about William and I going somewhere for a couple of days that week? She goes, that sounds awesome. You know, we can hold it down with Benjamin. He'll be good to go. He's still got daycare. He's got school. Just got to find a way to get him there in the morning. I said, well, luckily, our mother-in-law, your mother, moved a block away from us. So it sounds like you guys can do that. I'll take the older one somewhere else. So hypothetically, in my mind, I'm like, well, where hasn't he gone? Maybe to the Windy City of Chicago. What's the Bears schedule looking like? And do the Bears play a Thursday night football game against the New England Patriots?
Lo and behold.
Which is 7:20 Central Time. His bedtime's like 9 o'clock. He doesn't go to bed usually until 10. Doesn't fall asleep. I'm like, hypothetically, can I take a 3-year-old to an NFL game? I don't know. I don't know if that's a great idea or not.
It can be done.
It would either be forgettable or unforgettable. I'm not sure.
Could be both.
It could be both. And you know what? It probably would. Nate, what do you have for us this evening?
You guys hit on it earlier with JP. Earlier today, the SEC voted to ban players from coming back to college, and they took it one step further, adding a bunch of penalties if teams allow players onto their teams. They include a half-season suspension for the head coach, a fine that matches 50% of the sport's annual budget, and revocation of league voting rights for no particular reason. It was an almost unanimous vote. LSU decided they did not feel like it. I don't know why.
I don't either. I'm not sure, Nate. I think we'll probably have to get our Big J journalists on that as to why they abstained.
What could it mean
from this vote? So the Big Ten rule is that the coach has to serve a 50% suspension of the season. You also are going to serve a monetary fine. They didn't come out with like what exactly that number it is. And Nate, as you so eloquently presented right there.
I believe it was reported to be half of your operating budget.
So it's the same. The SEC and the Big Ten are on the kind of the same wavelengths here for punishments. But the SEC going one step further, the revocation of league voting rights. I also thought it was interesting. So all this coming out, the ACC today also passed this same rule. I think the Big 12 either last night or this morning, Austin, passed that as well. I had a question to you on Tuesday. I'm like, well, what happens if that player balls out in college and then the Las Vegas Raiders want to sign him on a practice squad deal? Well,
it's a good thing Roger Goodell listens to this show.
Roger Goodell was listening to this show because the NFL put its foot down on players who have decided to leave training camps / preseason rosters to return to the sport. A player that goes back to college football at any point will be prohibited from signing with an NFL team in the same year. It's the Power Four conferences and the NFL, not that they haven't been in bed with each other before, but the NFL putting their foot down, the Power Four conferences putting their foot down, and it seems now it's like, all right, well, this is just a straight-up answer for at least this problem that has been a pain in the butt for 2 weeks in college football.
Yeah, and I said it on Tuesday night, Beamer, and I'll reiterate it now. It is a step in the right direction in terms of sorting out all of these issues that are have been a minefield for the NCAA to handle. And part of that, as JP mentioned when he was breaking it down in hour number 1 of the Buckeye Show, was like, because he called them a cartel. I won't go that far, but because the NCAA had no competition and there was nowhere else for players to go when you were dealing with eligibility, when you're banning for so long NIL and outside earning opportunities, whatever, they didn't have another way to compete for that level of income. That's not the same thing when conferences are setting these rules. If you want to go play in the Mountain West, or maybe D2 will take back some of these NFL guys. Who knows? Good luck to you. But there are other avenues that can be pursued. So I think that this is probably going to be the blueprint moving forward. There's still going to be issues with it because you're hoping, and hope is not the best strategy or a strategy at all, that the Big Ten and the SEC put things that are in place that are similar or identical, and that perhaps that the ACC and Big 12 would follow suit likewise. But there isn't a guarantee of that. And if But if they band together to, I don't know, co-sign these rules, well, brings you right back around to NCAA territory. So
Please tell us how the NCAA works again, Austin.
Well,
for those of who are just now tuning into the Buckeye Show for the first time.
Yeah,
it's not like the NCAA is making rules on their own, are they?
These are member institutions collectively asking and agreeing to governance by one body that has been known as the National Collegiate Athletic Association for the duration of its existence. They represent every program and every team and every sport and every athletic director and every coach and every president. And when they are all pointing the fingers saying, hey, the NCAA can't do this, well, why did you agree to...
It goes right back around to you.
You point one finger out, there's four pointing right back at you.
Hey, that's a good one. Nate, what else do you have for us tonight?
On3 decided to do some investigating of who is getting paid lots of money in college football.
Big J journalist.
They put out a list of the top paid quarterbacks in college football. Darian Mensah is near number one with $6.5 million.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Miami splashed the cash, right? They did it with Carson Beck a year ago. They've also done this with Cam Ward. Like, they are living in the world where it's a one-and-done player for them at quarterback.
They also had to pay up and pay extra because they were in dire straits and had to break a contract that Darian Mensah had at Duke. It's like sort of like a buyout for coaches that we've long known.
Mm-hmm. So fascinating that Darian Mensah is the highest paid player. Again, Miami and the ACC should do well in that conference given the playing field that other teams are on. But again, we'll see. Dante Moore was second on this list for roughly $5 million. Trinidad Chambliss, $5 million as well. Sam Leavitt at $4.5 million, transferred from Arizona State there. Josh Hoover for Indiana at $4.5 million. DeMond Williams set to make $4 million, which seems like a pretty good deal until he was being offered $7 million from LSU, and then they decided to go with Sam Leavitt. But hey, you know what?
Allegedly.
That's a different story for a different day. Drew Mestamaker at $3.5 million, and then you get a couple of other guys as well. Surprising enough, Julian Sand and Arch Manning, according to On3 reporting, both have NIL deals that come in the $2.5 million range. Seems like quite the bargain for those
Assuming
two.
these numbers are accurate, what are we doing in a world where Mason Heinschel is making more money than Julian Sand?
You said Big J journalists there, Beamer, because we don't have collective bargaining and we don't have access to their contracts. Like, I believe that these numbers are accurate across the board. There's no way for anybody to prove it. And also, we don't know what all the other ancillary benefits are. Both Arch Manning and Julian Sand, for example, are Panini athletes, exclusive for their autographs and for their trading cards. I don't know what those deals are worth, but I bet that there's a reason that the salary cap valuations that we're seeing here are smaller than, say, for Darian Mensah or Dante Moore or whoever else who are, they play for a team that doesn't have Jeremiah Smith also taking up a pretty decent cap hit.
Are you saying that Julian Sand should be quarterback tier 1B then?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying salary cap allocation and other ways to have your quarterback compensated are different at Texas and Ohio State because everyone points at these two programs. Their roster spending is out of control. Well, their quarterbacks, two of the most recognizable faces in the entirety of the sport, if you believe that that's all that Arch Manning and Julian Sand are making this year, that's delusion. They are making well more than that. It just doesn't have to come directly from the school.
Ohio State captains, they spoke for the first time since being elected by their teammates yesterday. Austin was there. You're going to hear from them coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
What can ADP do for small business? We help answer the business questions, like how do you track employee time? How do you do payroll taxes? Or what does compliance even mean? So small business businesses can focus on bigger questions. Now florists can ask, can we invent another holiday to sell bouquets? Pizza shops can ask, how do we stuff a calzone into a pizza crust? And pool cleaners can ask, what is that thing in the filter? These are the questions you can focus on when ADP takes care of the business of your small business. ADP for small business.
The magic of Harry Potter is now at Tim's. Choose your Hogwarts house donut, summon the refreshing flavor of sparkling Patronus, or seek out the delicious golden snitch Timbit. Try them all at Tim's.
At participating U.S. restaurants while supplies last.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, where can you get a full suite of business banking services served up by well-trained, caring employees with unquestionable integrity? It's right here at Heartland. Relationships matter. I'm Scott McComb. Come over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Rare banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Paul Keels here, voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes. You have to check out the brand new AAA Buckeyes MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win tickets to Buckeye sporting events, access to exclusive MVP experiences, along with 10% off gear at the Ohio State team shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Buckeye MVP membership upgrade for free. Head to AAA.com/Buckeyes to join the squad and put your fandom in drive.
Save time, reduce costs, and eliminate printer frustrations with Modern Office Methods, your award-winning managed print services provider. We know how to help your business reduce the cost of office printing by identifying necessary print and paper waste. We can improve your printer fleet and decrease the amount of printer frustration. Why wait? Start saving time and money today. Start with our comprehensive print fleet assessment by going to momnet.com and click on Free Assessment.
Tee to Green with Skip Mosick.
Saturday, it's our season finale. We're at the OSU Golf Club to preview next month's Nationwide Children's Championship at the Scarlet Course.
Tee to Green with Skip Mosick, Saturday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
Buckeye Nation, join us on April 11th at the 2027 Ohio State Four-Mile, presented by the Ohio Beef Council and Raising Cane's. This is your chance to run down a tunnel and finish on the 50-yard line at Ohio Stadium. Participants receive an official Nike race shirt, finisher's medal, free race photos, and more. You also can get access to the home locker room and meet some of your favorite Buckeye student athletes. A portion of the proceeds benefit the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. This is something you won't want to miss. Register today at OhioStateFourmiler.com. Go Bucks!
I love the neighborhood where I grew up, but it was tough.
Ohio State National Championship quarterback and former CareSource kid, Cardale Jones.
Football helped me find my direction, but I also needed the right support system. Seeing that CareSource heart around town, I just knew they had my back. That's the kind of difference they still make in neighborhoods like mine. This is so much more than health insurance. CareSource, today and always. Trusted. Visit caresource.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are looking good across Central Ohio. Clearing skies overnight tonight into Friday morning. Low temps around 63. Friday, a dry, sunny day. Highs at 82. Saturday, more of the same. Highs at 83. And Sunday, the only difference is we're going to warm up with highs in the upper 80s. That is your 97.1 The Fan weather forecast. I'm 10 Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer.
If you still have a weird rash from jumping in Mirror Lake, we can be friends. This is the Buckeye Show.
I want to let you know that we are on the Buckeye Show, brought to you by our good friends over at CareSource. Chris Tomer doing a nice job there on the weather update from the San Diego of the Midwest.
Getting us all excited.
Sunday, almost 90 degrees. Monday and Tuesday, 93. Wednesday, 91. If you're wondering what the prospective 9-day forecast looks for 12:30 over at the Horseshoe next Saturday afternoon. If you're planning your weekend around the Ohio State football game, which most people do.
Are there people listening to this show who aren't?
The extended forecast for next Saturday, mostly sunny, high of 87, low of 63 for a 12:30 kickoff. It's about as good as you can doctor up.
Unfortunately, we know that you can do better based on Texas last year.
Yeah.
But that's a close second, we'll say. And you can't complain about it. Also, whatever the weather is, I don't care.
No.
Ohio State football is back.
God, how excited are you to get back there? What's your routine like on Saturday mornings? Are you and Berm driving together now that he's here? You guys used to drive separate.
No, we've always driven together.
That's right. He would spend the night at Casa de Ward.
He would Fridays. So that part will be different. I don't know if I guess I need to check with him, see if he wants to, he could have a slumber party.
He's only 5 minutes away from me right now, but he could still sleep over.
I think, tradition-wise, that's important to lean into that. We try to keep the routine.
Make the routine plays routinely.
Routine plays routinely. So I'll see, what he's planning for next Friday night, Saturday morning, whether that's typically I drive to the stadium. He is a jangling bundle of nerves, so I don't want him behind the wheel. That would be dangerous. And also, he's a volatile driver.
Ooh.
He gets
real high and low.
He gets very frustrated by traffic. Or
does he not know there's going to be a lot of people?
You would think, as long as we've been doing this, that he would grow accustomed to, turning down that final road off of High Street down into head to Tuttle Garage, that we're going to have to go through multiple cops, probably too many cops looking at the parking passes, the little bomb sweeping area, that it might be tight, might be backed up. We're definitely going to see people going the wrong way. That happens at every single game. You just have to roll with that. That's why we leave early. That's why we get there to start the question, start the answer there. We want to be there 3.5 hours before kickoff. That's the goal. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
So that's a 9 a.m. start for you. Well, really earlier than that, but a 9 a.m. arrival time to the Horseshoe.
Yeah, I think we would probably leave next week about 8:30, 8:40, so that we could, it's still very easy. Even when we're sitting there in traffic, it's 3.5 or 4 hours before the game. It's not what the fans are dealing with if they're coming at 10:30 or 11 or trying to get to the stadium half an hour before kickoff, and then it is hopeless for you, as
gridlock.
I've seen Allie and Liberty try to execute before to poor success rates. But we'll get there, so that we can be set up, so that we can record pregame keys about 3 hours before the game. Berm can get that uploaded, get the injury report, get that news out, get all that covered. And then I like to, head back down to the field. Buckeyes have been getting in about 100 minutes or so before kickoff. Get that walk in. The juices are flowing. Come back out for pregame warm-ups. I try to watch all of that all the way up until about maybe 30 minutes before kickoff, and then head up to the press box. So that's the normal home routine. Looking forward to getting back into it. It's been way too long. This offseason, there were times that I felt like it was dragging, and there were also times that I look back and I'm like, where did it go?
I think it's been both. I think it's been fast and slow at times. There's certainly been a lot of news to go over. There's been a lot of storylines. Then you get into the month of June, which is all recruiting, into the month of May, which it seems like the slowest month now in the calendar. And then you get into July. It's it's a quiet time where there's not really a whole lot of news from an Ohio State perspective to go over, but as soon as you get to the 4th of July, you are just now a few weeks away from camp getting started.
Yeah. May, they had 2 recruiting visit weekends in May, and one of those included David Gabriel George. So that month, brought way more intrigue for the future of the roster. And not that he was the only recruit that committed or visited in that month. There were a lot of other storylines that were spinning off of that, but I think that the level of interest in David Gabriel George, which still exists now after his season opener last week was on ESPN television.
I watched.
Yeah. I bet the ratings in Columbus were higher than normal for a game between 2 Tennessee high schools.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. 2 private Tennessee high schools. Not usually going to draw a ton of eyeballs up in Columbus, but I bet it did. I didn't see the ratings at it, but I feel strong that was the case.
Yeah.
I think
maybe the highest city rankings of anyone on the list.
Yeah, certainly going to be up there. Anyway, but that, I think, kept a level of new storylines to cover in May that doesn't usually exist there. By the time you get to June, and I think we're not far away from whether it's next year, 2 years, 3 years, like OTAs becoming something that are more open, more publicly covered, more talked about, including more press conferences. I think that's very much in the near future. But you had the OTAs, you had the one-day recruiting camps in June, and that kept the clock moving as well. And as you said, by the time you get to the Marysville Marathon at the Ridge Golf and Gardens,
summer's over.
Like, boom, it's gone. So that part has been great. I worried because there have been a lot of Mays that just feel like they are dragging on. What are we going to talk about on the Buckeye Show? What are we going to talk about on the beat?
We'll find our way.
And there was a lot there. And I liked the way that it was structured because it did feel more like an NFL offseason, and you took it in waves. And there wasn't a second transfer portal window. There wasn't, a couple other surprises of players coming or going for Ohio State. It was like, this is pretty clearly the way that it is structured. Plan out the year and then move forward, heading towards September 5th.
A big talking point this offseason for us, Austin, is Julian Sand going into year number 2 compared to where he was at last year, right? I mean, just kind of not drinking from a fire hose because he had been here at Ohio State now for a full year and a half at that point, but certainly in a battle with Lincoln Kienholz, who I'm excited to watch this year at Louisville. I think Lincoln's going to do a great job. I think that they've got a heck of a player down there. And you can see all the love on Instagram or any social media accounts of how much his former Buckeye teammates still love him. So that's going to be one team, including South Florida, who I'm going to be interested in from a 30,000-foot view watching this season. But he was asked, is it easier to lead this year knowing that you're quarterback one instead of trying to assert yourself as quarterback one?
It is a little bit easier just to have experience. Having a veteran group around me, having a veteran offensive line that, we know each other very well. The receiver room, having an offensive group that we know each other very well. It is a little bit easier, but you still have to, get out of your comfort zone and, what can I do more to improve as a leader?
This is also an offseason in which he's undergone an offensive coordinator change.
Yeah. And he described that process of getting more comfortable with Arthur Smith and the offense that he had all of spring to acclimate, not just himself and Billy Fessler and working with Ryan Day and all of that, but, the receivers, the chemistry, understanding the different ways that Arthur Smith wants to get Jeremiah Smith and Brandon Ennis the football, how they're going to be involved, and having that foundation on top of, all right, now you've played 14 games. Arthur Smith is not completely changing the entire playbook. It is a different person that is, communicating in his headset, and there are going to be, I think, notable differences in the way that Ohio State attacks teams.
I don't think Arthur Smith was hired to change the entire playbook.
He wasn't, but, I would assume that there are going to be notable and potentially even drastic changes in the red zone because that is the area of improvement that is non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. But the point is that learning this version and the tweaks that Arthur Smith is bringing in while having a year's worth of experience at Ohio State and 14 games of breaking down defenses, making decision, understanding coverages, he has such a different level of football IQ now, and it was already really good last year. So I think that's a really exciting place for Julian Sayin to be in. I think I know Ryan Day said it on Monday. You have your quarterback and your center back for multiple years. That changes everything for your offense. That's the nerve center. That's the brain trust that's going to be going out there to execute. And
that's what Jim Lachey said with us last night.
It opens up so many other opportunities, for Ohio State on offense. And beyond all of that, just with the football side, the leadership and the communication that we've talked about over the last 8 months, that was all validated by Julian Sayin's teammates. Yeah, they do look to him as a captain. And then if you take it even one step further than that, last night felt like his press conference was actually a conversation. And when you compare that to a year ago, where some of the deer in the headlights and being overwhelmed by the moment, I know that that's not how you win games, by winning press conferences, but it is a way to track the development and the maturity, the communication skills of both players and coaches. And that was one of Julian Sain's best ever press conferences, which was following one of his best ones early in camp, which was following the experience of doing it all day at Big Ten Media Days. Like, Beamer, we say this all the time, like, life is about reps, everything you do, but especially at quarterback, any part of that the more you do it, the better you're going to be. And that you're hearing his voice come out, and that's significant, but you're also seeing him play at a really high level, and we already know he can throw the football better than just about anybody else in college football.
Austin, we'll get to your question of the day, which will take us to the newcomers for Ohio State. We'll do that coming up here in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
As summer starts winding down, it always seems to happen the same way. The backpacks are packed, the school forms are signed, and suddenly the calendar fills up faster than you ever expected. Between the last-minute appointments, school shopping, and getting everyone back into a routine, it's easy for those projects around the house to keep getting pushed to next weekend. Here's the good news. Your roof doesn't have to be one of them. At Newman Roofing, our team of value-driven professionals makes the process simple. You'll get honest answers, clear communication, and recommendations built around your home's needs. No sales pitches. Whether it's a new roof, siding, or gutters, we'll help you check it off your to-do list with the kind of white glove service that's earned the trust of families across Central Ohio for more than 30 years. So instead of worrying about your home, you can spend what's left of this summer making memories with the people who matter most. Newman Roofing, built around family. Ours protecting yours. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today.
Hey, Buckeye fans! As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 3 trips to a Buckeye first-round postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
For over 30 years, Schumacher Homes has been building affordable custom homes throughout the Buckeye State. Experience true customization on your land, your way, without any compromises. Come visit any of our 9 Ohio model home and design studio locations to see the latest in design trends and learn about our award-winning building process, or start online at schumacherhomes.com. You'll be surprised how affordable a custom home will be. Schumacher Homes, proud home building sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Ryan Day's favorite radio show. Probably. Maybe. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hanging out with my guy, A-Ward Sports, Austin Ward. We'll let you know that we are on The Buckeye Show, brought to you by our great friends over at CareSource. Tim chiming in the YouTube chat. What's the early line for next Saturday? 35.5. Tim, the line currently is 50.5.
Not expected to be a very tight ball game.
You guys, you and Jay-Z, you both keep saying this.
That it's not expected to be? I didn't make the line, man.
You don't like the hefty quarterback from Ball State? I'm all in. Anyone hefty who plays a skill position, who plays punter, who plays kicker, I'm pushing the chips all the way in.
Is this true? I have not looked at their roster, but it was talked about in the team room on Monday by the media. They're looking at him like he's 250 pounds, and then somebody said, yeah, and he's 5'10".
He is.
I'm like, that math isn't really mathing for a quarterback.
What do you mean? You know,
before Awaken 180, I was 5'10", 245. So I don't know how that would really work if Kenyatta Jackson, for example, had been lined up opposite me, and I'm supposed to go run away from that. I don't think that would have worked very well.
Nate, you just chimed in my ear. We have some breaking news.
We were talking about the SEC banning players from returning. Yeah. A Texas judge has granted a temporary restraining order saying you can't do that.
Also, yes, they can.
This has already been proven. Texas just went through this with Texas Tech.
They just did it. And by the way, this is a league rule. This is not anything that will be able to be held up in courts, because if the league says something, that is their own rules that they make.
The judge says as long as they would have been eligible to continue playing college sports in the following semester if they had a fifth year of eligibility, they're eligible today.
You know what? To his credit and to his legal thinking, they are. And they could sign for an SEC team. What the SEC is saying is that if you sign a player, if you offer a scholarship and NIL dollars, if you do this and enroll that player on your roster to play football or women's basketball or men's basketball for you after signing a professional contract, then your coach will be suspended for 50% of the season. You're going to get a 50% fine on your operational budget, and you're also going to get something else. I forget, a revocation
you
of
lose
voting
your voting
rights.
rights.
So it's not necessarily that it's illegal. They're just making the penalties harsh enough in which they believe institutions won't do it.
This is just absolutely absurd.
No one is saying that these players are ineligible. What these conferences are saying that if you sign that player, there will be consequences for you.
We just need to get to, this locks in place for everybody playing in week 0. So the first Big Ten team, USC, tomorrow. Wednesday of next week's got some Thursday night games. Friday for Ohio State. You just need to get into these games where there is another NCAA rule that is going to be hugely significant and trumping all of this, which is that your roster is locked the day before you play a game. Please, oh please, just get us to that point where all of this nonsense and all the injunctions and all of the lawsuits and all of the billable hours are gone. This is enough.
I still go back to this is just another example of the NCAA being dumb when they said, we're going to put this rule in effect, but those of you that would be eligible this year, we're not going to allow you. What did you think was going to happen?
Exactly.
Just let them play. Should have just let them play and been done with it.
Yeah, but at some point, someone has to get cut off. And we talked about this on Tuesday, and a Caden Curry instance, right? Or players who had just watched, seniors who had just watched other guys play for 8 years. Right? That stinks. You could only play for 4 and or 5, and your eligibility ran out. Sorry that you missed the boat on being an 8-year super senior.
Well, I'm not saying an 8-year, but if this would have been your 5th year and they said, no, you can't, they wouldn't said, no, you can't do that.
But I think you
should have been able to play.
There will always be exceptions to the rule. In a Trinidad Chambliss case or whatever, well, I was medically redshirted or I was playing at the FCS level. Therefore, I didn't technically use
snoring.
All of my, yes, that was a crazy thing that we went over in the offseason, which is another reason why I'm glad that football season is actually almost here so we can talk about the actual on-field product instead of off. But I think there's always going to be exceptions to the rule, Nate, and I'm with you on that. Should they have done that? Probably. But it stinks for them right now, of course. But also there has to be some cutoff. And unfortunately, those class of seniors or 5th years last year, the class of 2022, at some point you have to stop going to college. You can't do it for the rest of your life. You can if your name's Van Wilder. You can do that. If your name is Will Ferrell in old school, you can go back to college, which is cool. But you can't be eligible to do athletics.
Yeah, lots of people go to school for 8 years.
Yeah, they're called doctors. I believe that's one Anthony Schlegel used to say.
Yeah, I stole that from Tommy Boy.
Yes, he did, for sure. All right, Austin, let's get to your question of the day, shall we?
Let's.
All right, so we heard from Jeremiah Smith a little bit earlier on in the 6 o'clock hour talking about Legend Bay. Believes he will earn a Heisman finalist place or win the Heisman Trophy. We also heard Jalen McLean talking about what sets true freshman Jay Timmons apart from the rest of the freshmen. We've talked about Brock Boyd. We've talked about Chris Henry Jr. We've talked a lot about this incoming class of Ohio State freshmen. I want you to pair those with the additions via the transfer portal. Newcomers to Ohio State. Which newcomer, whether freshman or addition via transfer portal, has the chance to be the biggest impact player for the Buckeyes this season?
I believe the answer to that will be James Smith.
All right.
Beamer. And all the ones that you've already named have chances to play really important roles, and they're going to be on the field, every single one of them, for Ohio State. But when you think about the way that Ohio State defends, the way that Matt Patricia relies on his defensive tackles, the way that Larry Johnson develops defensive tackles, and the impact that Caden McDonald had a year ago in trying to replace him. The fact that there's not any concern coming from the Woody Hayes Athletic Center about that position, I think is tied almost exclusively to James Smith and the impact that he's had over the last 8 months since he arrived. We heard that there from some people in the Woody that there were a number of players voting for James Smith as a captain.
Which, by the way, is pretty tremendous since he only got here 8 months ago.
And I don't know how close he was to that threshold and that cutoff. It would be, frankly, surprising, to see a transfer player get to that level. And Earl Little, I think, probably wouldn't be all that far behind James Smith. But the way that he approaches his business in the weight room and on the practice field, the development and improvement that he's made in his game since he was at Alabama, the nature of the position, the size and strength that he has, Ohio State needs him to be that impactful. And I think that he has taken that challenge to heart and is built to do that. And there are going to be other players, almost certainly, that have better countable stats than James Smith. But if he is as successful as I think he's going to be, that's going to open up a lot of those other opportunities to, pad the stats or generate the stats for Kenyatta Jackson to get a sack, to allow Peyton Pierce or Christian Allegro to flow to the football and not be occupied by blockers and make tackles for loss or stop, a run for no gain. I think he's integral to that success for Ohio State. And that's not to say that John Walker isn't, or that Edric Houston can't fulfill that potential, or that Will Smith Jr. is not really important. The fact that all four of them have the possibility of really being studs for the Buckeyes in the middle is critical, because you have to control the line of scrimmage if you're going to go on that playoff run the way they did 2 years ago. And
they also aren't eligible for this question, though.
And the way that they didn't, that's correct. Well, John Walker is.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think that James Smith, he is almost an easy pick. And that's crazy because there are so many legitimate options. But, if we're going, including the transfer portal guys, he is going to start. Earl Little is going to start. And Jay Timmons could be doing that as well at nickel. But, you have to be elite as a true freshman right away. They have other options that they can plug in there. And while I did say that there is more depth at defensive tackle, if you're trying to really fill that void of Caden McDonald, that's a super high standard. And I don't know if James Smith gets all the way to that or not, but I think he can be pretty close, at least based on everything that's been said about him over not just the last couple of weeks, the last 8 months.
Yeah, it's a high bar to set, right? Coming from K-Mac, and then the year before, him and Tyleek Williams both, as a combo platter.
And Ty Hamilton.
Yeah, the interior, specifically the one shade nose guard interior defensive lineman, has been a dominant force for Ohio State for a long time. And I know that you and I have had this conversation before, and how, all the pass rushers that have come through here since Larry Johnson took over have gotten a lot of the hype. You look at the depth of the interior defensive linemen that have come through here, and the ability that some of them have entered with and what they became after. Austin, it is day and night. Not to say that the edge rushers haven't been terrific. They have, and they get all the glitz and the glam, and we know it because of the sack numbers and the pressures and everything, and it's even reflected in NFL contracts. Those guys get paid more than what the interior defensive linemen do. The number of interior D linemen who have had more impacts on more amount of games has far outweighed the amount of edge rushers, outside linebackers, jack positions over the years.
I think it's a bit amusing to me because the actual hallmark, the actual trademark, the actual sparkling part of Larry Johnson's resume is not what he's done with these edge rushers. And I know that we immediately look to both of the Bosas and Chase Young, and sometimes we joke that pretty much any position coach probably could have got those guys to the finish line. But that's not true for Devon Hamilton. That's not true of Tywan Malone last year. That wasn't true of moving Draymond Jones inside. Mm-hmm. What's going on with Edric Houston? What Haskell Garrett became 6 years ago. I could continue on. Larry Johnson's actual best thing that he develops are the 3-techs, and he can move ends in there, or he can take a true 3-tech and do it, and move it in these nose guards that just you cycle through them. It's amazing. Sometimes it takes 2 years. Sometimes it takes 5 years. Ja'Shawn Cornell took 5 years. He was a 5-star defensive end and then became an absolute menace as a 3 technique. There's all these examples of Larry Johnson elevating these guys who pretty much anybody else would give up, and he would say, nope, I believe in this. And those guys that believe in him and see that process all the way through, you don't see 5th-year guys, 4th-year guys failing when Larry Johnson is putting them at those defensive tackle spots. He knows what he's doing, and he does that. That's true across the line, but nowhere is it more evident than at defensive tackle.
Hashtag Buckeyes is coming at you next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We're known for 3 things: games, conversation, and common man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The magic of Harry Potter is now at Tim's. Choose your Hogwarts house donut, summon the refreshing flavor of sparkling Patronus, or seek out the delicious golden snitch Timbit. Try them all at Tim's.
At participating U.S. restaurants while supplies last.
At ADP, we know you want your landscape business to succeed, but we don't know anything about landscaping. ADP only knows how to handle the business of your small business. So if ADP focuses on the payroll and the HR, while you focus on the land and the scaping, success should follow. Just don't expect us to know all about Kentucky bluegrass, zero-turn cutting, or what to do with a woodchuck. That's for you to figure out. Let ADP help your small business focus on the part of the business you're good at. ADP for small business.
CEC Turf and Tractor is growing. We're proud to welcome Green & Sons Equipment's Mount Sterling and Marysville locations. Same hometown service you trust, now with the strength of one of Ohio's largest Kubota dealers. Visit CECTurfandTractor.com today.
On this episode of Science Stuff, we're examining the fastest things on the planet, like the cheetah. It can reach a land speed of over... probably having an off day happens to everybody, but here is the American race car. People love the thrill of the... Okay. Next up is the Falcon. No, all right. Oh, Great Caesar's ghost, what was that? Why, I think we've found the fastest... Let's watch in slow motion.
Hi, it's Alex, the friendly Apex...
It's Apex Pros, the pros who knows. They're the fastest thing on the planet. When you have a problem with your plumbing, furnace, air conditioner, or electrical system, Apex Pros gets to you faster than apparently everything. Leaves are blown from trees. Paint is stripped from buildings. Mothers clutch their children's hands. Because when you have something broken in your plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, you don't want to wait.
Columbus loves Apex Pros. ApexPros.com.
Are you ready to sail, Buckeye Nation? Join us February 19th to February 26, 2027, as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer out of Barbados on the Silver Sea, Silver Ray. Meet more than 35 Buckeye greats plus some of your favorite current Buckeyes, all while making memories and helping beat cancer. You don't want to miss this ultimate Buckeye fan experience. We can't wait to see you on board. Let's celebrate 20 years of making a difference. Visit BuckeyeCruise.com for more information.
Okay, ranch lovers, Donato's just changed the game. They've got an all-new, house-made buttermilk ranch that is absolutely next level. We're talking creamy, tangy, and made fresh in-house. Try it drizzled over their savory new chicken bacon ranch pizza, or use it as the perfect cooling dip with a spicy kick on their new buffalo chicken dip pizza. Don't wait. Try Donato's all-new house-made buttermilk ranch today.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no. Download the Fan app, silly. Ah, damn it, I knew that. App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Hey, Buckeye fans. For 65 years, Town Properties has helped make Central Ohio a great place to live, creating thriving communities across the Columbus region. Today, we're proud to serve more than 25,000 households, from downtown Columbus to neighborhoods throughout Central Ohio. Learn more at townproperties.com. That's town with an E, properties.com. Town Properties. Great places to live for 65 years and counting.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on being the best at one thing and getting it right every time. which is why every chicken finger meal we serve is marinated, hand-battered, cooked to order, and made just for you. Quality isn't complicated, and our menu is proof.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Social media can be a cesspool. Allow us to navigate the waters. #Buckeyes.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. Call the plumbing, heating, and cooling technicians at the Waterworks and header today. Call 614-232-2222. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Coming up here in about 10 minutes time, 8 o'clock, get you up to Lake Erie. The Cleveland Browns hosting the New England Patriots tonight. Austin, last game of the preseason.
Catch the fever.
Can't hold anything now. Can't hold anything back now, can you, Brent?
No. This is what it all comes down to.
I mean, it is. Got a little diddling G out there tonight for the Brownies, so we'll see what happens. Deshaun Watson being named the starting quarterback. Was watching a piece on NFL Network saying that Deshaun Watson can earn back the trust of Browns fans very quickly this season. And in my mind, I'm like, he can. I don't know if he will, but he can.
He does have a chance.
He does.
Anything's possible, I suppose.
Yep. Isaiah and I were talking about it last night. Jay-Z was in here. They're both Browns fans, so I was getting their opinion on this. They're like, yeah, I mean, if you win, you'll find a lot of more cheers than you will boos. I'm like, that's true for any NFL organization.
That's all it takes.
He could also retire, and the Browns fans would be very happy with him.
Well, he's got one after this year. They're not on the hook for that $230 million because they've already paid him. So coming up here, 8 o'clock, you got the Browns and the Pats. You were enjoying something during the break.
Yeah, so you've got a big match tomorrow, right? You're out on the golf course?
I am out on the golf course tomorrow.
You think that you will be playing for Scotty Scheffler money or no?
I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing tomorrow. So it's not my game. So usually when I go to a place and other people invite me.
You could be playing for Scotty Scheffler money.
I don't know. I don't know what the game is. But like when we play with our great friend Justin Zwick, we play by his rules.
We do.
And we play their game, which can get very expensive.
More expensive than it usually is for me.
Yes, correct. For me too. So I don't know what the game is tomorrow.
I thought it had been interesting, and I don't think we'll be adopting those for Central Ohio two-man scramble league games, but people have been giving Siwoo Kim, Liberty's favorite golfer, a hard time because he never apparently can beat Scotty Scheffler in their, I guess, daily money games down there in Dallas. And Gary Woodland, he's preparing for the Tour Championship. He said, well, I'm also part of that, and I also don't know if I've ever beat Scotty Scheffler in Dallas. And he said, he was talking about it. I don't know if the tour likes this level of openness about, gambling away from the tour. Now, it's not on the actual tournament matches, but, I guess they have DraftKings partnerships, so maybe they don't care at all. But so Gary Woodland said he's hard to beat there. He's talking about Royal Oaks Country Club, where they're all members. Right before we went to Memphis, he parred the last. I was giving him a hard time that he couldn't handle the pressure, but he parred the last 3 holes and shot 60. Siwoo, that didn't work out for Siwoo and I. He's hard to beat out there. He's really hard to beat in Dallas. We play $100 a hole, and Siwoo and I like to press, but that doesn't work out well either. I've had to go to the ATM a couple times playing him in Dallas. Trust me, I'm surprised he won't talk about it. He likes to remind me of it. It's just...
So if you don't know what a press is, if you don't play golf, it's basically double or nothing. It is double or nothing. It's not like double or nothing. It is. That's what a press is.
What's double or nothing?
Yeah, double or nothing, Austin, means if it's $100 bet.
Okay.
And you and I, let's say, are up by 3 strokes after the first hole of the golf match that we're playing in. The next hole, if we were playing match play, which we weren't, we were playing stroke play, the team who we played against could press if we were playing for a monetary value per hole. Usually, if anything, maybe it's a $5 per hole. For me, I'm a $5 Nassau. I like a 5 on the front, a 5 on the back, and a $5 for an overall. That way, if I lose, I'm out $15, and that's okay. $100 a hole plus pressing is out of control. That's too much. That's too much money.
Especially against the world number 1, who is parring in the last 3 holes to shoot 60.
Well, maybe they beat him on the press.
It doesn't sound like that was the case. But I can't confirm or deny. But Gary Woodland, very open about all that. So I immediately thought of you because it's been a few weeks since our match.
Mm-hmm.
I just figured you're going to be out there, rolling along with the country club folks. I didn't get invited.
I rarely get invited. So that's okay.
So I was like, well, that's probably what Beamer's playing for on Friday afternoon.
I don't know what I'm playing for. I'll tell you. I'll tell you tomorrow. I got a 10 o'clock tee time, and then as soon as we figure out the stakes of the game, I'll let you know.
I tried to get the huge match, replacing Television's Adam King. Initially, we had talked about a two-man scramble showdown with Jay-Z, Reimer, you, and me earlier in the summer. Adam King does not have a child. He's much more available than the four of us. We were able to make that happen, but we couldn't make it. I guess with this forecast, that's the problem. Everybody knew it was going to be beautiful except for me, and I was looking on Monday and Tuesday. I was like, can we maybe make this happen this weekend? It's the last weekend before Ohio State football is back. We all become way more busy. It's like I looked at all the normal spots.
I got a week in October open.
Yeah, do you? You're going to be in Chicago, and I'm going to be in Austin, Texas again. So I was like, can we get this happening? And Jay-Z said, yeah. You said, I'll show up whenever. Reimer said, I think so, as long as I don't have to play with Adam King again. I said, no, you got Jay-Z. This is the match. And I just looked around. It's every course that I would normally play at, it's like booked fully until noon. So, well, all of us also have children. That's probably not going to be ideal.
A noon tea time is no good.
No.
You got to get out there at like 8 a.m., make sure we're home by like 2
We got to
o'clock.
sweep the dew off the course and then be home to the kids.
Yes, for sure. Got to be there for the wake window in the afternoon. I don't know if Liberty takes a nap. Williams still does.
No. She swore those off pretty quickly.
She's well past that. Luckily, Williams still takes them, and we're holding on for dear life because I think they're going to come to
She
an end.
needs to take naps, but she won't.
Yeah, well, William at about 2:15 on Sunday when we were at Monster Truck said, I need to go home. I need to take a nap. And I said, yes, sir. Let's get out of here as quick as possible. About 40 seconds left before we get out of here tonight. Our fan poll sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub. Online at 971thefan.com or on X at 971thefan. What does a successful season look like for the Cincinnati Bengals this year? Make the playoffs, win a playoff game or two, AFC champions, or Super Bowl champions.
Super Bowl or bust, baby.
Oh, that could be AFC champions. You're saying you're winning the Super Bowl?
Winning the Super Bowl.
Not as the
over the Chicago Bears.
Not as the prophecy is foretold. Nate?
AFC champs.
All right. AFC champs losing to the Bears in the Super Bowl.
Besides that,
everyone have an awesome evening. We'll get you out to the other team. We got Browns football up next right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan.